Alright guys, what is going on and welcome back. This is the Tipped Out Podcast, episode 26, and a special episode if you are a visual listener with the YouTube channel. Here we have to my right, who we've never been in person, my boy Danny Christy's here visiting down in the, not today so much, but sunny Florida. What's up, Dan? It's great to have you in person and finally get this going. We're tangible out here.
I can touch it. It's awesome. Thanks for having me down here, Brandon. Holy smokes, I'm playing golf.
Yeah.
I'm playing golf for the first time in 6 months, and I suck. I'm terrible, man. It's eye-opening, but it's great because it's a great challenge to, we try to instruct other people, but at the same time, like, you've got to be able to figure your own things out, and it's a good challenge to try to figure out what you're doing wrong. It's humbling, very humbling.
It really is. So yeah, today's episode, guys, nothing too heavy for you. We're gonna be catching up, chatting about our own golf swings. So a lot of cool little nuggets in there. From that, we might talk about some controversial or funny rules. Maybe a little bit about the players, but really more so just kind of an off the cusp, is that? Or
off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Two F's.
Two F's in this podcast, episode 26. So today's official sponsor of the video, as you can see, is Peach Crown Royal. They have nothing to do with us. They've never seen the podcast, but we love drinking their stuff, so we're going to definitely have a cheers to that at some point. And, but yeah.
So be it.
So be it.
So, one thing I'd like to start off with is on the kind of mental aspect, because I feel like I've been going a little crazy. I think it's important to remember and almost not to be too fickle with golf. It's really been 2 days. It's maybe 2, right? And I'm over here like, I stink. I'm trying to figure out what exactly I'm doing wrong. At the same time, it's like, I just got to slow down a little bit, let myself continue to hit the ball, and then work from there. I just feel like I'm overreacting now. That after 48 hours of being like, fuck,
Yeah.
I gotta relax a little bit. I think what we want. I think you and I are both so passionate about solving all the golf swings mysteries that when we're struggling, it like drives us crazy to the point of I gotta fix it now, which might not be realistic.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a big. That's great. I didn't even think about that aspect, but a lot of this episode will definitely be about like how to get back into golf when you haven't been playing for a while, right? You've been up north. You probably haven't made many other swings other than a couple of simulator swings. We should talk about that too. Difference in simulator numbers, and I'm someone who feels subconsciously probably cage shy, they call it, when I have like a driver indoors. Like I just don't feel like I have the same amount of room. You don't see the same ball flight as you would when you're outdoors, of course. It's very short distance and it hits a screen. I just can't trust my ball flight on simulators usually. I don't love it. It's probably because I haven't swung in a while and I'm actually hitting it poor. But then once I get outside, it seems to kind of fix itself. But with what Danny's kind of going through is just the highs and lows of how much we love golf and how passionate we are about it. And there's just so much excitement when you've been up north and you haven't seen green grass and it's cold, and then you come down here from shoveling for weeks at a time and you can see the grass. It's nice. You hear the birds. It's sunny. You've got the pool. We've got some drinks. Like, you're not working, and it's just, you have the opportunity to play good golf, so you expect that because we are good players. But I mean, how many PGA professionals, how many PGA Tour pros go through some times where it's just not there? It could be mental, it could be your schoolwork, it could be your job, it could be just your lack of practice, or it could just be not enough time doing one thing. That's why it's important that you have and seek professional help from a coach, because a habit is formed in 66 days. So if you haven't tried your new grip change, if you haven't tried your new swing thought or development for at least 66 days and seen improvement or a lack thereof, then you probably really haven't tried too hard. But how tough is it, Danny, to trust something and go with that for that set amount of time? I mean, it's just...
Very hard, yeah, it's very hard.
Even as instructors, like you said, man, I mean, we love the game, so passionate. For me right now, I'm working at an academy, so I'm teaching 5 days a week, if not more, almost all day. And, hopefully, and results have shown, we are, as a coaching staff, getting a lot of players where they need to be. The higher end coaches at my facility are very well known and have a great resume under them. So, of course, they realize that, and they've been in the industry a long time. But it's for someone like myself who's just come from high school golf, college golf, and then college, now to the real working world, and kind of in a job where I thought was a dream job.
Excuse me.
It's just so different, man, to try and balance being a player, being a coach, reading a new book a week, a new book a day, watching all the videos, seeing everyone swing, and then not trying to apply my own game to the students, but also trying to, compartmentalize knowledge versus usable
definitely
information, right? I mean, just because I read a Ben Hogan book doesn't mean I need to swing or emulate Ben Hogan. I'm just taking the little nuggets, as we like to call it, of information he drops, and some kind of cool things like that, man. It's just such a journey,
Yeah, it is, and I want to kind of point out, though, I think probably one of the most important things, anybody who's trying to get better, and I feel like it kind of comes in levels, right? And I talked to Brandon this morning, I said, I know I've been at this level for a long time of where my play's at, the patterns of my ball flight, all those things. And for me, I kind of thought, I've been doing all this research. I feel like I'm starting to understand what I need to do. And then sometimes it doesn't always go to plan. And unfortunately, I mean, even with all that knowledge, well, quotation, it is knowledge.
it is.
Haven't been playing. So that's a major factor. At the end of the day, it's a sport, and it's not a think through it.
Right.
Feel it.
Yep.
Game over. So I definitely have a lot of worked up habits that probably aren't all the best, might be good, and that's where I'm a little confused is, what's okay to say, okay, this is your natural body type. We can leave that alone. This is what you should, this is natural for you. But then where do you draw the line of saying, okay, this is where we have to change something? Because it's definitely a slippery slope, and it's going to take a lot of time under the gun to know those things. I'm drawing a little bit of a blank. I kind of wanted to grab a club and show a little, because do you feel that the squeeze, when you squeeze a club, if as long as the face is staying square, that's a good grip? I remember when Pat Sams talked to us about that.
Definitely. And I, more so than my lead hand, so if I'm squeezing my lead hand, and we'll say lead hand and glove hand, they're the same. We don't want to say left and right just because who knows if you're a lefty or a righty.
Yep.
But my glove hand, my lead top hand, if I squeeze that hand, I'm usually squeezing my bottom three fingers. So my pinky to my middle finger. And when I do that, that's me kind of almost locking up my wrist. And that's how I kind of hold the face and play more of a fade. If I'm gripping a little stronger in my trail hand, my trail hand, that's going to be more around my thumb and my pointer finger, and that's kind of like a gun trigger. And when I feel that in my trail hand, that's how I maintain kind of club face control, and that's the shots I really feel are kind of pure, and I hold the ball holds the line really well. if I don't kind of have that subconscious check of my grip pressure, I definitely think I grip it a little too loose, and then the club will kind of spin in my hands at impact. If I try and grip it too light, the club gets extremely heavy with how fast a player swings it. And then you add the earth and the club connecting together, there's going to be some movement, right? Watch a slow-mo of a pro hit a shot on a PGA Tour event, and you can see the shaft bend, the head manipulate, but their hands are staying square, and that club face hopefully stays square as well. So to kind of answer your question, I usually don't feel them both together.
Squeezing?
I usually feel one or the other, and that's dependent on the shot I'm trying to hit. A little more of a held off, kind of like a wedge. I love hitting wedges with a little more tense trail hand. And then if I'm trying to just hold off like a driver and play a nice little soft cut, I'm going to squeeze a little bit harder in my bottom 3 fingers of my lead hand. I don't know if that really is the route you're trying to take that, but...
So I'm looking at it as more of a like training aid type deal, or like a test almost, because I was just kind of messing around with it as I was gripping a club. Because basically what I'm working on right now, is a weaker top hand grip, because my grip was just too strong, we believe.
So when you look down at your hand at address, how many knuckles did you see on that glove hand?
Originally or before? It depends on the angle my head's at, but probably 4.
Probably 4, okay.
Or like 3.5, like a solid 3. Like that baby was moochy glah glah on the top of the club.
Yeah. So when he's talking about weakening that grip, right, he didn't look down and see one knuckle, and then now he sees none. He had a very strong grip, and now he's just changing that based on what ball flight he's trying to see. There's not, but...
Fucking mosquito.
Mosquitoes.
I think the other thing, too, it's really not a huge... It's not a huge difference. But to me right now, one thing I'm feeling is slightly more, obviously more of my, like, palm of my hand is just a little bit more wrapped around the club.
Yeah.
So before, I mean, I was really, like, my fingers really had the grip, and the rest of my hand was really just, like, kind of rested down on top, so it gave me a lot of leverage.
Yep.
Which, so when I'm not doing that right now, I feel like I can't hinge my wrist this way as much, which I don't know exactly what that means. But
so you have more of your hands, the hand heel pad on it?
I have more of...
your thumb pad or your heel pad?
This would be my thumb pad.
Yep.
My heel pad.
Your heel pad, perfect. Yeah. So
I mean, my thumb pad like never touches it really to begin with. I don't think.
Word. There's a big difference between like not playing a lot of golf and then coming like out of season, right? So when Danny's out of season, it's winter up in the Great White North, and so you're just definitely not going to have your hands. And by that I mean short game's probably going to be pretty choppy, and scoring is going to be pretty sporadic. So a lot of times when we come out of what I call hibernation up north, or we don't play a lot of golf, is that we get so caught up in like our swing, the technicalities of our swing. How does it look? It's on video. And then scores start to go up because we don't have all those little nuances, right? We don't know how far our 3/4 inch choke down pitching wedge goes. We don't know, our hands don't have as much knowledge. It sounds weird, but like the hands control everything in the golf swing. That's the only thing connected to the club. So if your hands aren't educated because we haven't been playing a lot, most likely our pitching and our chipping is going to be bad. If your pitching and chipping is bad, your proximity to the hole isn't that good. Proximity to the hole isn't that good, and you haven't putt a long time, your putting's probably not that good. So your scores go up, and then you equate it to my swing is bad. I've seen you hit the ball. We had a range session a little bit the other day, and he's practiced and played a little bit on his own while I'm at work, and like the strike is solid.
Yep.
It's not. This isn't the worst I've ever seen you hit it, and it's not the best I've ever seen you hit it. So it's not like
it's not the end of the world.
Right.
That's
So all it is just having like not even speaking to you now, because as an instructor and as a player, you have knowledge in this, but to the listeners, if you're someone who's going on a boys' trip, a girls' trip, whatever it may be, you're just golfing and you haven't in a long time, keep the expectations low and just really try to enjoy the round. Now, like Danny's coming down here for an extended period of time. You got a one-way ticket, so hopefully he's here for a couple of weeks. And so by that point, his game will hopefully shape up. Now, if he's here for 3-4 weeks and
still dog
and still poor, then we just have to look at it from a very holistic standpoint and see, okay, bro, are you overthinking it mentally? Mm-hmm. Are you overanalyzing your grip? Are you changing your grip every swing? Are you not thinking about your short game? You know, there's just so many facets of golf that don't even pertain to hitting the ball. Your mental, your knowledge gathering, you know, what's the wind doing? What's the slope of the green? What do you want the ball to do when it lands? You know, if you're a beginner golfer, we don't have that knowledge. If you're a beginner golfer, you can't really do much about those factors anyway. But the better you get, the more things matter, man. The more that extra mile per hour of wind matters. The more that extra pace of the pin being in the back matters. The more the grain into or down matters. The more club selection, grip, exit point, your strategy, your mental, your practice plans. Like, it's a very tough game.
Yeah, it is.
A game of inches and centimeters and knuckles, right?
Knuckles.
The matter of seeing one knuckle, two knuckles, or four knuckles could totally change how you swing the club, how the ball comes off, how you think about yourself around the course. It's crazy. So my little tidbit about coming from the north or not playing for a while and just getting a chance to play is enjoy everything besides the game, right? Being out on the course, it's a little bit warmer. There's not as much snow to shovel. You know, I get to see my boy again, dude. Like, a lot of great things to be taken from it other than maybe hitting a ball a little offline, right? So, easier said than done. But yeah, man, it can be just simply like not playing for a while and the scoring goes up and you think it's directly your swing. But
just I want to add here, kind of the reason I took a step back. Literally in the last hour, I did a little bit of self-reflection. You really sometimes, when you overthink or you kind of try to add things into your golf swing with not a lot of structure or not a lot of like drills or good reps that you know, like you can't just go out there and feel things. You really can't. It's not really going to change much. So what I'd like to point out is really, I think all I've done since I've been kind of fretting about this is hit it worse when I'm hitting. I mean, I really wasn't hitting it that bad when I first got on the range. I'm looking back on it, and I'd take it right now.
Yeah.
Really wasn't hitting it too bad. Just the little pull draw, sometimes a hook that we saw, but I definitely was hitting some solid shots.
You really did.
I was probably taking one side of the course out of the play. Like, I really couldn't hit it right at all.
Yeah. Looking back on our 7 holes we played tonight because of the rain.
And then today it was definitely worse. I was just trying to do a lot of different things. But,
so that's huge what you said right there. So without like direction, you literally just bounce back and forth, Band-Aid fix to Band-Aid fix to I suck, this is shit, I'm trash. Like, when was the last time, or if ever, have you sat down and wrote out like a practice plan for yourself or your swing goals, your current tendencies? Like bro, and this goes for all walks of life too. Ever since I've started like journaling or writing down certain thoughts, if I get in my head too much, peace and clarity come over it. So like Danny said, if you're a 25 handicapper that hits a slice, and this is your 15th year of hitting a slice, I think we know your tendencies. Yeah. So it's time to get with a coach and get a plan going. Just bouncing around from YouTube video to YouTube video to, you know, all my different tips on Instagram, Danny's different tips. it's very tough, right? Because we're not talking to you as an individual when you're getting things from YouTube or you're getting things from Instagram that aren't individualized. You're getting things that are trendy. You're getting things that are fixes for the masses. Now, I just looked up the slice fix and it didn't really help. Well, there's a lot of different ways to hit some bad shots. So it could be a fraction of an inch different than what you need, and it could make all the difference. So sometimes sitting down and just saying, okay, this is my ideal ball flight. You know, traditionally speaking, people will say high draw. Why? Because the pros hit that, you know, Rory hits that, and it goes farther. But if that's not your anatomical correctness of swing or your natural swing, or like what Danny's really getting into is matchups based on body's limitations, certain length of appendages, right?
Yeah.
Like arm length and torsos and like.
Yeah, definitely. Not the appendage you're thinking of, but
I don't know.
That, and then just like the preference of your body's movement for sure.
Yeah.
So there's a couple screens you'll do, and you'll figure it out from there. Or, you know, that's really all I've got. But I was going to say something sarcastic, but didn't want to make myself seem like I'm bad at teaching, because I think I'm all right.
But no, and you are. And so, guys, as a viewer or listener, I really want to tap into what Danny said right there. So, as a very accomplished junior golfer, collegiate golfer, and now an instructor, and mind you, he's won college tournaments, he's won almost every junior tournament I can think of, and he's a very accomplished, just wholehearted golfer. I'm talking like being a student of the game, from not just knowing how to hit certain shots, but it's knowing how to teach it, reading all different books, knowing how to compartmentalize that information. But right there, all these things that he does so well almost go out the window. And he just said, I was going to say something sarcastic, but I didn't want to make myself sound like a bad coach or a bad teacher. It is absolutely crazy what this game can do to you. It's wild, man. We get so, as much as we know how much words do to you and your golf game, we can't help but be passive aggressive towards ourselves or like what we're doing, and it could be all one shot. He could be playing or not just him in general, but any golfer could be playing incredible golf and hit one shot left, and that's where that scar tissue is. We have a great story in a minute, but that's where that scar tissue is, and your world can just implode. But on the opposite end of that spectrum, you could be playing very poorly, and as long as you have that strong mindset and the next shot is the one that's going to change it, the next shot's the ones that are going to go in, the next shot's the one that starts on line or doesn't go left, and as soon as you hit that one, hang on to that feeling and really hold it. But all I'm trying to say from that little bit of rant there is that, like,
I'm going to tap in.
Yeah, go ahead.
This ties in very well, because I think it goes back to Brandon saying you don't want to have too high of expectations. I think I probably did, first of all. That's why. I don't know why I instantly am just super hard on myself. I think the other thing, too, is, like, it's almost like a competitive sense, like coming here, I want to be where you're at right now with how you're hitting it, and then I'm like, I'm not, right? Yeah. But, so I think there's a little bit of whatever going on there. I mean, again, that's all mental shit. And then what you just said reminded me of I was on the putting green this morning, I'm practicing, and I literally, for a second, I took a step back and was like, dude, you are mentally barraging yourself right now. Like, why are you so negative on yourself right now? I said, where is this coming from? Yep. And the high expectations, I think, is what it's got to be. But so I just took a step back. I was like, dude, relax. Like, just go on the fundamentals, square things up, be a little more positive with yourself. And then all of a sudden, a couple more of those 5-footers I was working on when I was hitting were dropping. I don't know exactly what it was, but I know I wasn't going into a putt going, the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you just miss 3 in a row? Yep. So, I just think that's cool, and I think it's relatable, because I feel like a lot of golfers, everyone at some point has been there, and definitely go easy on yourself. It's I still have to. I'm literally sitting here and like how stupid I feel like I am. Like I literally have been playing for 48 hours, and I haven't played outside in 5 months. I don't know why I'm being such a wacko. But.
And that's just what the game does to you, man. I mean, how many people have we heard, Danny, on the lesson tee? I just read a blurb from it tonight from a possible lesson that's, I'm 68 years old. I played for 55 years, used to be almost scratch, and now I'm hitting it pretty poor. That goes back to expectations, man. And just because you were once something doesn't mean that now you're going to be that something. Everything changes. You played for 55 years, but now you're almost 70. You don't think your game, your body, your energy level, your commitment, the fact that you can't hit the ground as hard as you once could, like, all those things go into it. And I feel like a lot of seasoned golfers get so frustrated, not because of their current results, but because they used to be able to do it. And it probably sucks so bad, and it's probably the same thought as you have right now, but thank God you still have your youngness. Your youngness, is that a word?
Youth.
Your youth.
That's the word he's looking for.
Good thing you still have your youth.
That could be a Wordle word, 5 letters. Keep it in mind.
And so it just goes all into expectations, and that nothing good comes from looking back at the past, other than maybe learning about how to predict, how to go about the future. But golf is a very present sport. Only that shot in that exact moment matters. The one before does not matter. The one ahead of time, you haven't hit it yet. So, of course, it does not matter. You can't change the one behind you. Ben Hogan used to think about, once he hit a shot, a giant brick wall from ground up to the heavens used to be behind him. And everything behind him was behind that wall. He cannot look back. So what is the sense of looking back if there's a wall there? There's nothing to see. So play in the present. Worry about that next shot, or not the next shot, the shot at hand as much as possible. Like we've heard Tiger say in a lot of interviews, he worries more about that shot at hand than breathing. Now, I'd probably pass out if I tried to do that, but he's the GOAT, so I'm not sure. But really, dude, it's a humbling game, right? And
it really is.
Just because you were at your latest peak a couple months ago, back when we were in college, winning national championships and winning tournaments and, taking top fives, this is months later, post-COVID, post-winter, and you've had a club in your hand for a total of how many seconds when you think about it, right? How many seconds does it take to hit a golf ball? 1.8 or something like that? So how many shots have you hit? More than you've liked to, but also got him. But
taking a couple drops.
But it's incredible. So as an accomplished golfer, an accomplished coach, and a student of the game, if he's having trouble mentally with the game currently, I certainly think someone who works a 9 to 5, totally separate from golf, never read a golf book, and plays on weekends for fun, I assume you're having some trouble too. So if that's the case, please reach out to us and we'll help you through that. But
yeah, one thing I want to point out, which I don't know if this has any relevance or not, but I think it's going to be kind of funny. With my scores, we've played, and I've played a couple holes without you. Have you seen me make a double yet?
I don't think so.
I was just noticing that's interesting. I'm making bogeys out the ass. I'm just making bogeys. Now, there's been a couple situations where I probably could have if I make I've been saved by a tree a couple times that made me not have to take a drop. But yeah, I'm making, it's not even, I feel like I'm so close, I have to just wiggle in a little bit better on each hole and they'll all be pars, which is interesting. I just noticed I'm making just bogeys. It's not and they're not they're pretty routine bogeys.
Yeah, so that's my next question based on that. That's another thing. Stats, we've covered this before, but stat tracking is a must. If you're trying to get better, it is a must, because we haven't been stat tracking, but since we are seasoned golfers, and I say seasoned golfers meaning we played a good amount of tournament golf or just rounds in general, that we most of the time can keep our fairways, greens, and maybe usually putts if we look back at the round quick enough. We know those stats, but it's impeccable and to track them, right? Because for this exact reason, are those bogeys only coming from tee shots, or are you getting yourself in the fairway and now it's, okay, maybe the wrong club. Okay, maybe you haven't played in this severe of wind in a while and you've chose the wrong club, and now you're fighting a grip change and not trusting it. If we haven't fully committed to the shot we're going to hit, and you hit a good shot, it's a lucky shot. If you do not 100% commit and you hit a good shot, it's pure luck. If you can commit to the shot and you hit a bad shot, that's golf. So that's what I'm just trying to say, bro.
Yeah.
And I think that what you're starting to realize once you've just had time to kind of compartmentalize your thoughts is that I don't think it's a lot or only swing based. It could be
it's not.
It's short game. It's a chunk chip because it's an uphill lie into the grain, and Florida has some cracked ass grass. It's a lot of wind, and the wind dies, and we're not used to, like, you know, picking between the wind and trusting that the wind was going to stay persistent. And it's, you know, and then on top of that is the swing change, is the mind change, is your body has not swung a club consecutively outside. Now, if you're someone who hasn't played golf in a while and you go walk or ride 18 holes, or
my
you're on a
feet and legs are tired.
Yep, and you've been in the gym a lot, so this does help the strength factor.
But not.
But
like
golf
this.
muscles are different than your regular day-to-day muscles. So that torque, that amount of compression on your back, your vertebrae, your spine, your lats, the stretching, the extension, the amount on your wrists, even just the walking on your ankles.
Where I feel it the most right now is like bottom of my feet, like through here, like my calves a little bit.
Plantar fasciitis.
No, not that, but
in his head. I don't even know what that means. It's something with a
pain,
foot.
like in here, like really bad.
Gout.
I guess.
I got gout. But that's all I'm saying.
I would like to let's tackle this a little bit.
Let's do it. I'm here for it.
For me, it's almost like a perfect combination of everything. Nothing's so bad that it's really bad, but yeah, everything has been a little bad. Like driver was probably honestly been the best, and then I'm not really hitting. I'm missing more greens than I should, and then my short game is almost non-existent. So maybe it's interesting. I practiced today. Short game putting, did a ton of it, and definitely didn't quite turn over onto the golf course. More chipping. Putting is iffy, but I did hit a couple putts that I felt were better. I made a putt finally, made like a longer putt on the course. Chipping, short game, like pitch shots, 30, 50 yards, like.
Left him kind of short today.
Trash, terrible. So, but the other thing too, now that I think about it, is I didn't really hit many of those. I'm not practicing those. I gotta go to like that pitching area probably, because that short game area there, I was getting grooving like right in front of you chips, and then like short-sided chips, but didn't hit many like pitching wedge.
So that was a perfect segue into the next little blurb. So I'm going to ask you some simple questions, more so for the viewer to chew on, rather than...
this is going to be kind of mock, but it's not really.
Yeah, exactly.
This is an sample one.
So, like Danny said, he went to practice this morning, some short game stuff.
I was out there for 3 hours, too. Like, I was practicing, but go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. So, did you have a plan going into today?
No.
Okay. The shot types you just described for us were on the fringe, straightforward chips. It was maybe down in a little bit of a gut, kind of a little high, soft.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen the Saints practice. I mean, you know what the shots I'm looking at are.
Exactly. Putting. What did you work on in putting?
Putting, I actually had like a legit... I didn't have a plan going in, but when I realized that I couldn't get on the golf course, I had to practice, which was probably good for me. I then developed a plan, and putting I did primarily, I just started like warmed up a little bit, and then I did gate drill, one-hander. I had 3 golf balls. I do 2 one-handers, then a two-hander, 2 one-handers, 2-hander, 2 one-handers, 2-hander. Then I would sprinkle the balls out around the green. I'd give myself, I'm on a hole on a slope, so I'd go to the right side of it, put the balls out. I got 3, remember, so I'd kind of have like an uphill right to lefter, a kind of side onto the hill right to lefter, and a little downhill right to lefter, and I'd put them on the other side, have the opposite with left to righters. Then I'd go back to the gate drill, try to keep in check. So then when I'm doing that, I'm going through my routine, trying to see my start line that I want to hit it on, see where about, like I see the break of the putt, see where I want it to go in the hole, and then I'm really focusing on hitting that start line, really. And Palmer's smiling right now like he's either going to smoke me for being terrible at practicing, or I don't really know, but I was pretty happy with how I practiced.
Incredible. No, that's kind of what my practice sessions look like for putting too. Next question. How many lag putts did you hit?
A lot.
A lot? Okay. I wasn't expecting it.
I mean, when Dad dropped me off at the course, I mean, again, like I said, I had 3 hours,
right.
And I got too frustrated on the range, so I really didn't spend too much time there. So I did a lot of putting.
Cool.
Because, you know, I like to putt. And I would have probably done more chipping, but to be honest, there could be a better practice green there. More like chipping areas. I should have gone. I didn't even realize there was a pitching area. I didn't even realize
there is a pitching area. It
does look low key like.
They did let that green go, and so then now they were trying to bring it back, and then they did end up sloping it, as you saw, almost like a mound just for drainage. It's just a cracked out push up green, but I do like the putting green. It does facilitate for putting.
Exactly.
It technically isn't a chipping green, but everyone chips there.
Oh, you're not supposed to chip there?
There's no sign, I don't think.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't be surprised if you weren't, because it's literally like built up and like terrible for chipping, to be honest.
Right. But there's nowhere around it
Yeah.
that the grain is good or that the grass is what you see on the course. So
or grown. Yeah.
Right, and so then the range is sandy because it gets an incredible amount of traffic. But
yeah.
Kind of two more questions, at least on the tip of my tongue here.
Okay.
This next one's not even a question, but when we track our stats, or when we really kind of, for me, I want to get more into having a golf book, and what I mean by that is like jotting down my misses for the day, or maybe my misses for the day, or maybe my tendencies. So if you're someone who tends to hit a high weak fade, if you're someone who hits a high weak fade, probably most times that's not going to get to the green, right? And that's probably, if you're a right-handed golfer, that's going to be short right. So if you're practicing, this instance that I was going to talk about more for a practice round. But anyway, if you leave yourself 50 yards short of greens, and anytime you go to the course, you practice how Danny did today, right on the cusp of the green, you're not technically practicing for what you see the most, right? So the next piece to that is like when you have your stats, it's always good to have like the amount of shots from 50 yards and in you hit, because I mean, are you 2 chipping, 3 chipping? Are you chunking a wedge shot that leaves you inside 50 again? Those things help. So knowing your tendencies and stats, incredible.
Practice what you see. What
the
you
next
see on
piece.
The golf course. Practice like you play.
Yeah. And the next piece, the next question, is kind of even more so a selfish question. Why did you get frustrated on the range? Did you have a clear, concise, committed shot shape and committed target each time? Before you answer, because this may sway your answer. And I just said this to you the other day, but for our listeners, I don't get much time on a range anymore. I go to work, I have a lot of, not time, but a lot of chances to hit certain shots, pitches, putts to kind of showcase or show things to students. But after work, I'm pretty much going out walking like 4 holes or trying to get a quick 9 in, and I'm playing. So I'm really trying to perform the art of playing golf and scoring. So when I get on a range, there's really no result other than what result we create in our head. I'm pretty happy with my swing right now, and when I'm on the course, I can get it around. So when I'm on the range, what I'm trying to get at, Danny, is that like I'm getting frustrated because I don't have a clear goal of what I'm trying to do, and I'll hit one a little left and just get mad. But like I didn't say that I wanted to hit a fade, so when it draws and I get upset, that's the issue. So if like I'm not picking targets, you always should. If I'm not picking targets and I don't have a shot shape in mind, and I didn't pick a start line, an intermediate target, I didn't go through my routine, if I'm just sitting there raking balls, like where's the consistency? Where is this is going to lead into the course mentality? So going back into my original question, why did you get upset on the range?
That's a great question. Because to be honest, it's not as straightforward of an answer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's 100%. Not super straightforward. I think one problem, maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not, that I have, like, with my approach to golf almost, and with my approach to ball striking is I know I've told you this before. A lot of times I just try to hit a stock shot, right?
Yep.
I've mentioned that to you before. I've told you countless times. I just try to, set up, pick my target, and I just make like so when I'm on the range and I'm hitting my stock shot.
But you're changing your grip. So what is your stock shot?
Here's the thing. That's what I want to point out. Is like, and I kind of do like that idea, and people would disagree with it. You'd probably disagree with it, but I do like the idea of like, okay, this is my kind of like trained, not necessarily senseless, but I'm not trying to do anything crazy with this golf ball. I'm trying to make my golf swing at it, and where it should be what I want my stock golf shot to be is something that ends on my target line though.
Right.
And right now it's not. But I'm consistent. Like that is my stock shot right now is a pull, like a pull. Yep. It's just a pull, and then sometimes it gets a little more away from me and starts drawing. I would say.
Yep.
But I feel like there's probably a flaw in that logic, but then I get kind of, I guess what I was most frustrated with was that I can't figure out how to start on my line, or get it to go on my end initial target. Yeah. So then I really buckled down, got like my alignment rods and stuff out, and then and then there's a big right to left wind, and I'm in my head, I'm like, all right, well, I'm just trying to make sure my face is a little less closed. Hopefully these poles will start, with a little bit more open face, they'll start cutting. And I did hit a couple that I thought were pretty good, and honestly when I first started doing it, I hit a couple in a row that I thought were pretty good. And then I just couldn't tell for sure with the wind. So then I was like, well, let's try starting it right at my target line. And that's where shit went terrible. Because, like I said before, you can't just go out there and feel things and go, oh, I want to start around my target line, and all of a sudden just ramp it into a full swing. I know better than that, but in my head, for some reason, I still want to try to do it when, in reality, I should have stuck an alignment stick in the ground or something and tried to hit at least, like, little smaller swings starting it right at that. But,
Feel versus real in golf. We've heard that saying all the time, and it's so true, man. Like, so when you're sitting there feeling the shot, and you don't have a trained eye or even a camera with a good angle, you could be feeling that your path is zeroed out, but or you're a little over the top, right? Because you're hitting a pull. So then you're like, all right, well, let me zero it out. Now you're swinging 8 degrees to the right, and your body's not used to that, and your hips are fast. So now you're going to double cross or even bring a shank about. So it's like,
didn't do that.
That's good.
No shank. I'm fine in the middle of the face. It's just not going anywhere where I think.
Yeah.
So that's one good thing.
So really, it ties back into expectations, having a plan, and just too I'm sure you did this, but just taking breaks. If you're gonna practice that long, that's a very advanced allotment of time for practice. Like a 3-hour window for a little bit of range and short game.
my breaks were built in by non-consensual conversations with other guys in the practice area. So.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, he's totally right. I mean, mentally, it'll wear on you too if you're out there for 3 hours trying to work on stuff and maybe it's not going accordingly or other things. I think one thing that I'd like to point out, which I didn't fall back on, which I normally always do, I think because I was really just trying to make something happen right away.
Yep.
If I'm ever really struggling, I just go to like tiny, small swings, small shots. Just get some sort of something that I can say, okay, I'm comfortable doing this. And with these small shots, starting at left, starting at right, whatever it may be, like if I could start hitting 50-yard halfer swings that start left and fall a little bit right, boom, that's something to go off of. Then add a little more speed, and really just try to find something that'll work on the golf course. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to be perfect, and I was trying to be perfect for sure.
If you set up 2 alignment sticks on the ground, the width of your club, you know what I'm talking about, the channel? Could you hit in between them?
Could I hit, like, so basically hit the ball on the center of the face?
Yeah.
Club moving through there?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Currently. That'd be my question.
I'd like to think I could, but
if
maybe
you do
with
that,
my club exiting, like, if my club's exiting as left as we think it is, maybe my heel would catch the one.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to think about, is that, like...
I really don't know,
Yeah. Because I'm trying to just think about your path, like... Yeah. I can't think about it right now, because then I won't talk. But, yeah.
So this is where I'm at, too, is, like... It's so... Again, this is just going to be relatable content.
It is.
For me, it is so, like, I remember when I was younger and Mary taught me to swing more to the right, I always end up coming back to over the top a little bit. I like, and something about it to me feels like more powerful or something. I don't know. But I just feel like more comfortable and like, it feels more repeatable to me. Every time I try to swing out to the right, it just feels so against kind of what I want to do, which I don't know.
And I'm thinking that's because of your hips, bro. Like there's really no way.
So in my mind, I'm gonna cut you off again, but it's just like, to me, it's like, well, I like the feel of that move. It feels consistent. I feel like I just rip left, like. I do, but
you do.
If I could just match a little bit of a more open club face to that, I'd be as long as it's consistent and I'm not losing it. Like if I could almost eliminate more the left side of the golf course, rather than eliminating the right side.
I mean that's what technically should be happening, but it's purely
not,
based on grip. Yeah, I truly think it's based on grip.
Like, do you think I could get away with where it's at now? Okay, let's say I just can figure out the face a little bit better. I think that'd be like pretty repeatable, right?
For some reason I can't. Right, and there's a difference. When we say over the top with Danny Christy, we're talking like a degree. Over the top for some of you is probably like 12 degrees. And then you aim more left to try and compensate for the fade, and all you do is play a slice. So there's a big difference, but as you can see, the amount of thought, preparation, mental agony, and also like hours of hitting that goes into this to even to just try and play decent, consistent golf. But like, there's no doubt in my mind that you shouldn't be able to play incredible golf that you're used to by just backing off your grip a little bit, bro. Like,
figure out a way to get that face just a little more.
And I mean, we all do, but I mean, are you checking your club face on a straight edge as you grip? Like, didn't we do a little bit of that last night? And then you did the, like, a certain test?
I think it's square.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to think, like, what if your club is, like, even a little closed, and then you have a super strong grip, and then you, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, bro, you release it like someone who has a weak grip.
Yeah.
Like, look at Tiger and Rory, bro.
Bro.
They see a knuckle and a half. You see 4 and release it like that.
I would argue that Rory doesn't, but we'll have to take that.
What? Rory doesn't? What?
See, no, I feel like Rory probably sees 2 or 3.
Probably 2.
Pretty strong. Pretty strong, man.
I mean, yeah, he does hit an in-to-out draw, high draw, though. So he has to release it. His path isn't over the top.
Fair. Point taken.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as soon as I said that...
He was fucking wrong about the grip, though.
I was wrong about the grip. I'll give him that. I don't know Rory because I don't watch bad golfers. But,
Rory sucks. But he's my favorite.
Yeah, as I say that.
It's torture.
But, all in all, man, just go easy on yourself. To the listeners and to you, man. It's
This has been a more, a less instructive podcast for sure, and a more, like, just transparent, where we are literally just, conversing about the swing and just putting our actual thoughts out there.
Yeah. So, like Danny just said, so this may not be how to hit the perfect pitch shot podcast, but I know there's going to be a lot of you listeners out there that get a lot from this because you are at the point in your game where we are at, and if you're not, we will certainly get you there. But that's just what it is, man. It comes down to, like, any profession or obsession has so much with it. Like,
there's no straight line to success, really.
There really isn't, man.
I mean, it's corny, but that's
it's
true.
just...
I mean, for us as teachers, there's no straight line. Like, clearly, I want to be a great instructor and want to be able to help everybody. But clearly, I'm not there yet, right? Like, or I'm, there's bumps in the road. It's a learning curve, and I'm just in the midst of learning. Like,
yeah, we all are, and that's huge. I mean, you talk to any instructor, and if they tell you that they don't have a single doubt about something or they know it all, then please stay away from that. But like Danny said, man, this is going to be a very transparent thing with us. This is what we want this to be, right? This is our podcast. We want your guys' opinions, and please call in, message in, DM us for topics, questions, concerns. But, like, this is going to be the stuff that we want to talk about. So sometimes it's going to be more selfish, and, like, we're going to have conversations recorded, but almost for our own mental sanity and for our own clarity of things. And I think that's something we really want to bring to you guys because it does have so much value.
Yeah.
But it's just not going to be a cookie cutter, how to hit a high soft pitch, right? This is a wholehearted conversation with great transparent information about the golf swing, the mental game, how tough it can be, and just how humbling of a sport it is. And that's, at the end of the day, that's why I truly love it, right? You talk to anybody and they make a putt on 18, they hit a good drive, keeps me coming back, right? Like, you can hit 88 terrible shots. But your 89th one that goes in, but your 89th one, man, that goes in is the one that keeps you coming back.
Amen.
So just like that 89th swing, just like that 89th shot there, we hope it keeps you coming back as well. This has been episode 26 of the Tipped Out Podcast. Stay tuned. There's going to be a couple more, hopefully a bunch more like this while Danny's here for the next couple of weeks, couple of days, and a lot of cool guests coming up as well. Some cool things on rules controversies, a lot of different cool topics about bringing you guys some stats from not only the tour, but amateur golfers. We don't see enough stats and stories about amateur golfers, probably because it's not as exciting and cool, right, to see young Johnny shoot 103, but it's more relatable than the 0.00001% of golfers that make money for a living. So,
amen.
Any last words, my brother, before we get back out there and hook it around?
No. It's a pull hook, by the way.
It's not a push hook, it's a pull hook, and it's not really hooking, it's just a pull. So we're going to loosen that grip. We're going to weaken that grip and get him stuffing the pins again. So
amen.
Amen, corner. thanks again, guys, for your time. And yeah, Brandon Palmer on YouTube for this podcast. Danny Christy Golf on Instagram,
TikTok, coming at you with more content.
Facts. Danny's gonna be filming. I'm gonna force him to film as much as possible while he's here.
We're
Take
doing some
advantage.
Fun stuff too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, stay tuned. A lot of if you guys are watching on the YouTube, some good vlogs are coming up. Course vlogs. The club he's got in his hand is a
beater, man.
Is whack. Show him a close up of that. That is a Browning 440 for all you gun lovers out there.
Look at this, baby. This is the face here, nice and shallow.
It is not even the width of a golf ball. We don't have one out here right now, but incredible stuff. So once again, episode 26, podcast 26, the Tipped Out Podcast. Peace and love. We will catch you in the next one. Drink some Crown Royal, unsponsored sponsor. Ghost Golf. Check them out on Instagram, please, at Ghost Golf. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Contraband got that dope.
Sometimes I don't feel alright. New girl on my face, she said she need a bite. That's why I don't feel alright. Catch me in a good mood, I just might. Stop talking, I'm breaking